Hello, my name is Gary Matthews. I was born May 3rd, 1959 in Baytown, Texas. What made me choose Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas? Historically, one of the largest, or the largest, historically black university in the country. I did my undergrad work more like in a population of how I left high school. Back then it was East Texas State University in Commerce. Now it's Texas A&M at Commerce. But it's the same type of environment that I left in high school, but it was a more deeply rooted area I was going to, where we were still in the midst of being accepted, even as college students. We're still fighting a good fight to struggle and be accepted in certain areas. This was a time when Lamar Jeter story was going on in Greenville, Texas, where there's a black man accused of robbing a store. But I'm down there, get my education. I got there on a football scholarship. I chose to go to East Texas State, and I enjoyed my time there. My grandmother, her side of the family, originated from Louisiana. My grandfather was sharecroppers here in his family in Barrett Station, Barrett Settlement before it became Barrett Station. They both came together and had 14 children, which my mother, she was the youngest of 14, youngest girl of 14. And everyone was educated there and just settled in. What I remember about my childhood, my schooling, I didn't sit in the classroom with the white students until I was in high school. So when I started school, we were segregated, not integrated. What I remember most was a close-knit community in Barrett Station. We grew most of our food in the garden. Most of our meat came from cattle raised on the farm by my grandparents. Smokehouse, the whole bit, made the butter, the whole bit, pick figs, preserved figs instead of having syrup. We'd have fig preserve, we'd have pear orchard, pear preserve, pecan trees, those pecan pies on holidays, sweet potato pies on holidays. Everything came from the garden. I don't remember too much going to the store or going to the produce section and buying items like we do today. We're very close. Games were played outside. Of course, there wasn't video games and what you have today. So during my childhood, we had to be creative to entertain ourselves. my parents discuss racism with my brothers and sister. I'm the oldest of 6. So I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. In our home, as I was growing up at home, we did not have color TV in the early 60s. We had black and white, and the sports commentator was Walter Cronkite. So because we had not yet integrated, and because of our age, a lot of stuff we didn't run into for as black and white issues, because we were a black community. And what we seen was black and white TV. But what they did more was explain to us what we were exposed to from TV, watching race riots, watching blacks being sprayed with hoses and dogs being sicked on them. And, our questions came from there. So knowing what I know today and reflecting back on how the whole process went, I think they did very good. I don't think they necessarily protected us from it, because eventually we was going to see it, as we grew and experienced the life that we're living now. But they did a good job of explaining that this is just the way it was in this era. We see change, but the question is there really change? Notable moments in American history that I was able to experience. I mean, there were a lot, there were many, but I would name a few that we as Americans were able to sit in our living rooms and visually see for ourselves. It was sad. It was a sad day. The assassination of Martin Luther King. The assassination of John F. Kennedy, riding in the arcade, Dallas, Texas, downtown Dallas. Emmett Till, seeing the pictures and the grieving mother who refused to have her son's body presentable so people can view it. She refused it because she wanted people to see exactly how her son looked when she first seen him. So that was a terrible moment in history. Just let us know how far we were back and how far we need to come. Seeing the soldiers come home from the Vietnam War. A lot of them survived the Vietnam War, but came home still to fight another battle. Racism, not being able to find work, addicted to drugs, which they received no help. A lot of them came home homeless, no place to live. A lot of them returned home and were hung because of bigotry and hatred. Seeing Muhammad Ali take a stance not to go and fight in the Vietnam War because of his beliefs. Malcolm X, the difference between what he believed and what Martin Luther believed, which was all for the same purpose, to have equal treatment, to be looked at as men. didn't integrate until 1972. And it wasn't a smooth transition for the white community nor the black community because simply it was the first time. It was an experimental thing, and it was kind of a picture of where the future was going to be. But I graduated in 1977, but really didn't fully experience integration until my junior year because there are a lot of whites keeping their students, the children still separated and refusing to send them to school to sit in the classrooms with black students. Teachers were trying to learn how to work with one another, how to relate to the different races. So it was happening not only for the students, but for teachers, our athletics, mostly football, mostly blacks played football. We would have a few whites here and there. I remember we had a white kicker. But really, that's all I remember. As far as varsity, basketball, it was predominantly black. And the same white guy who kicked for us, punted for us, he was our only on the basketball team. Baseball was predominantly white. Girls athletics, girls basketball was predominantly black. Most of the white girls were cheerleaders or played in the band. Track and field, mostly black, predominantly black. So that went on throughout from 72 to 77. When I graduated, the transition was beginning to get a little smoother, but I didn't experience the full effect of success of integration. Okay. Communities were still split, but we asked the question, did integration help? I look at it today, our communities, black communities, are not as strong as they were. I think integration had a lot to do with it. We wasn't really asking all we was asking for as integration was to be able to have the same materials to learn from. We had good teachers who nurtured us. The same teachers that we seen Monday through Friday, we would see in the church house on Sunday, or we would see in the community. Did it help? Today, going through the experience of it, and see what I see today, I think it hurt us more than helped. TSU, I majored in mid-management, education administration. Very good professors. Everything that allowed us to be creative. They're very knowledgeable. I feel I was very well prepared. A lot of things that I see happening today, they said, they were visionaries. Some of them, they could see how they had to prepare us for the future. A lot of things they talked about. Of course, you paid attention, but really didn't pay attention until you had to actually deal with and reflect on some of the things they was warning us, letting us know what's to come. very good environment. Each professor, you could tell they cared about what they were presenting to us. Each class session, some of them, or one of them, I was able to go into the field and actually, that's how I started my administration, taking on a project at-risk youth and employing them in a program that's funded by grants to employ at-risk youth over different parts of the city. So, multicultural, they were teaching how important it would be for us to be able to deal with different cultures. So I feel very good and very well prepared. My attendance at Texas Southern back in the latter 80s, early 90s, the campus was small compared to what it is today. It was about the size of a junior college then. Then you notice junior colleges are much smaller. There's some high schools larger than junior colleges. During that time, Texas Southern was a nice sized campus, but it was still considered a small campus compared to neighboring school, University of Houston, even Lamar University, Beaumont. But as small as it was warm. It was a warm atmosphere. Everything was easy to get to, accessible. Technology friendly. Probably not as friendly today. I remember going to the library, spent lots of time in the library, microfilm, typing on a typewriter, picking away. Hannah Hall. Kind of like the other place to hang out in the front, student union building. It wasn't near as large as it is today. The education building was probably the largest building then, along with Hannah Hall. But even though it was small, it was well kept, it was clean, lots of greenery, trees. You see the fraternities and sororities that already marked their spots, me being a Sigma. It was just fun. It was fun. I look forward to walking the yard, socializing, and then carrying on the business of what you're there to do, and that's learn. So once again, like I said earlier, I wouldn't trade the experience for any other college experience, getting my grad. Identify as important teachers and role models. Let me go back to East Texas State University. There I majored in health PE and special education. It was my first time having an instructor who was Hispanic. His name was Maxio Plata. Very good special education instructor. He was very humorous, at the same time very sincere on what he was delivering each class session. And everything that he said then, and that was in the late 70s, early 80s, it still sticks with me today when working with special ed students and special ed population. Texas Southern, it seems like everyone I went to, they had something to add to my treasure chest. Dr. Aldine Allman, she was over teaching. She was a white instructor. She taught at a black university, but she didn't look at color. I mean, she was very sincere and serious about what she was teaching and letting us know how important it was that we be able to deal and adjust with different cultures, and also gave a vision of what's to come. And we're seeing it today in education. Dr. Lonnie Roberts. Cool Dr. Lonnie Roberts. Testing measurements from Dr. Roberts. You had to listen. You had to take good notes. You had to always be ready, because you didn't know in one of his famous quizzes, a test was going to be popped on you or sprung on you. But it was a learning environment that you had to be on top of your game when you came to class. And then, of course, everything that I'm experiencing now, I can connect to these instructors. Dr. J.C. Jones, who was a minister, and I think I picked up a little from him, because as a teacher, some of my students still say today, just like I said with him, it sounds like Dr. Jones, like he's giving a sermon. And that's the way my students say to me today, Coach Matthew, Mr. Matthew, sounds like you're giving a sermon. But at the same time, you capture the attention of the students. They're engaged, they're focused on the delivery of instruction. And he was just a fun guy. He loved to eat in class. So if you was in a group that had to do a presentation, he was also responsible for feeding the class. But he was creative with his classes. He always gave you an invitation to come visit his church and worship, together. Dr. Powell, sociology and psychology, wearing his African attire. He just cool, laid back, but he dealt a lot with body language, being positive, how you should walk, how you should speak. And I just go on and on. I've had good experiences, and every time I walked on the campus, I know I was walking in the footsteps of people who walked those same hallways and pathways that I walked at Texas Southern, Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland, Crusaders, a lot of musicians, entertainers. So, it's just a special place. It had a special aura. And then the community. At the same time, the university was responsible for the community. Third Ward has been as close knitted as it was. But it was just a great place to be. It was a great experience that I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it today for nothing in the world, because if it wasn't for having that experience, I don't think I would be where I am today.